Hello, and thank you for joining us for another Change Your Chat. I'm Grant Venable, Director of Change at Be the Change Volunteers. Today, we have our friends who are in charge of the Teachers Toolbox Grant program joining us to share about the program. We also have a generous supporter of that program joining us. We are excited to share more and get those stories out to you, our listeners, so that you can decide if supporting the Teachers Toolbox is right for you. I have Don and Brenda Gamble. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I also have our favorite, Uncle Al Rohlfing. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys making time for me today. And I'm really excited for us to dig into Teachers Toolbox because we want more people to know about it. We're actually doing a matching fundraiser for it right now. We have $10,000 in matching gifts for a total of $20,000, which will make it possible for us to support even more teachers in their classrooms in the next round of Teachers Toolbox grants. So this is a cool way to kick that off and get people excited about it. For those who don't know what it is, I've got Brenda here, and Brenda is the coordinator of the Teachers Toolbox Grant. She is a career teacher along with her husband, Don, but Brenda is really the person behind making the grant process move forward, accepting all the applications, organizing all the applications. And so I would just like Brenda Brenda, would you tell our audience a bit about the Teachers Toolbox? Tell us what it is.
Well, we open the grant application usually at the end of summer. All teachers in the U.S. Can apply, and the grant window usually closes towards the end of October. And then our goal is always to get grant awards distributed right at the start of the second semester or close of the first semester to help teachers be able to utilize those funds and put their plan into practice for that second semester. So we had about just shy of 50 applicants this past year. That was the most we've had so far, and it's quite a process to sort through those applications and just organize. It's a lot. I've had to up my computer skills, organizing everything and communicating with the teachers has been fun. I'm the go-to contact for them, so they can email me directly, and I'm in the trenches as well because I'm a teacher myself, and so I can really identify with what their emails and what they're saying and what they need. I just feel connected to them, so it's been a lot of fun to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, and 50 applicants, and you're doing multiple emails with each teacher. So I just want the listeners to know, Brenda loads all of her files into BTCV's cloud office. And so I see how much work there is behind that. I get it. It's a lot. And we are extremely grateful. To be honest with you, we don't have the staffing to make this possible without volunteers like you. So just in advance, thank you for everything you do for that. It's a huge deal. Don, you've been a career teacher. Tell us about just whether it's an example in your classroom or classrooms that you've seen where there's a financial shortfall in how grants like this help teachers be successful in their role.
Sure. Every school is different. Every school has their own set of financial challenges, whether you're a school that really has a lot of low income kids and maybe your area doesn't drive a huge amount of tax dollars. And so your school budget isn't huge. And, I look at, I look at teachers applying for very simple things, music for their classroom, books that match the reading level of the kids that they're dealing with every day. Certainly being in the schools for 35 years, I see teachers in my own building that are looking for materials that they would like to up their teaching game, whether it's using technology. In my own school, we have a student-driven news program that goes on every single day. And I know the teacher of that class, desperately wanted new cameras and new soundboards and new tech equipment to make that program go better. So, we see everything from simple things like music and books all the way to, whether you want a 3D printer or something that's a little more higher end, but all teachers are looking for money to make things better for their kids.
Yeah. Uncle Al, your story with Teachers Toolbox is really cool. And most people don't know this, that you're one of the people who seeded Teachers Toolbox in the beginning. You've been very generous to the program ongoing, and you're not a teacher by profession. You're actually a veterinarian. And so that has taught you the value of education, of course, but just tell us about why you latched on to Teachers Toolbox as just another part of your mission with Be the Change Volunteers.
Well, my sister is a teacher, So she's retired now, but I knew what she went through, buying supplies out of her own money,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then when Maddie and Bailey graduated from college and they had to do a GoFundMe page to
Right.
outfit their classrooms, it really hit home. And that's why I got involved.
Because you
And
had
so
volunteered with Maddie and Bailey in Uganda when they were
correct.
in college working
They
on
were
their degrees to become teachers. And so that's
they
the
were
connection
still
there.
they were still in college, and then when they graduated, they did the GoFundMe, and
Yeah.
we, that was the start of the toolbox.
I had forgotten about the GoFundMe. And so that's a really cool way for BTCV to, well, particularly through you to recognize this kind of gap that people want to close. They just need a mechanism that they can use to close it. People have been very generous towards this grant program, and it's exciting when you've donated to a program like Teachers Toolbox. It's exciting to see the report at the end of the year that shows all the good that happened in the classrooms with people's financial blessings for this. So, Brenda, I want to jump back over to how the Teachers Toolbox works. So, we have a committee put together that evaluates the application. Just tell us about what that part of it is like. There's a timeline for turning in your application. There's a permission form, I believe, or it's
Right.
is a permission form correct? Is that the right way to put it? That your
An
administrator needs to sign?
acknowledgement form.
Okay,
Yeah, they
right.
have an acknowledgement form that they have their principal sign to make sure that any technology that they get through the grant is used appropriately and that sort of thing. The grant we award anywhere from $100 up to $1,000,
Mhm.
usually about 10 grants a year, depending on what our funding is. And they it depends on how many we get for the year, but the committee has four people on it right now, and we had so many initial applicants this year that I took that and we kind of separated it out, and then each committee member took their 10 to 15 applications and really read through them thoroughly and picked their top five or six
Awesome.
from that little section that they were given, and then we put the top five from each person's choices all back together again, and then those 20 people or so, they all went through and individually tallied and voted using a scale that we have, just to select our top 10, then to get it down to the top 10. So
Yeah, that's
yeah, the process.
fantastic.
Yeah, everybody who's doing it is volunteering as well and using their time, and it's really nice that everybody comes together to help these teachers, and they're so appreciative. The teachers are so appreciative. It's fun to see it all come together.
So, one of the things that I want to do today, to just inspire some other people to support the Teachers Toolbox is just to hear from each of you, about one of your favorite stories. I'll go first because in the pre-chat, I kind of gave you my example, but I want to tell listeners. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and one of the winners this year was a Title I school, and they live in a more challenging part of town, I would say, to put it lightly and respectfully. And so these kids do not have the same opportunities as kids who live in North Phoenix, for example. But because of the Teachers Toolbox, they now have an outdoor garden area where they can do science classes. They also have a robotics program. And that is super cool to think about. These kids didn't have access to that before, but because of the Teachers Toolbox Grant in this school, now they've got one. And I'm just really proud of the organization and grateful to the people who support it for making that possible in the city that I live in. And so it's really cool. This grant affects people all over the country. So I'm curious, Uncle Al, what is one of your favorite Teachers Toolbox stories?
Well, probably one of them would be one of the winners this year. She used her funds to rehab their shop class
Yeah,
and update the tools and materials and stuff like that. And it's a junior high classroom, so pretty young, impressionable kids. She did the improvements and got everything online, and then went the extra step. She's finalized a program with another not-for-profit. It's Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
Yeah.
They make beds for people in the community that don't have beds for kids and stuff like that. So the kids are actually going to be working with others to make these beds and pass on to others in need. So that's pretty cool.
It's such a small world, Uncle Al, because when I found that out, when I saw that, I literally just met with a board member from Sleep in Heavenly Peace here in Phoenix, a week before that story came out. And I immediately, when I saw it, I sent him the Teachers Toolbox report. And I said, look, like there's a BTCV connection to Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So super cool. Small
Yeah,
world, big
very
impact.
small world, a lot of connections.
Super cool. All right, Don, tell us one of your favorite Teachers Toolbox stories, please.
Those are hard. I've read through so many applications, and
Yeah, I bet.
there's so many cool ideas, and it's super hard as an evaluator, to when you see teachers that do want very basic things, books that are on reading level, or like I said before, music, something like that, and then you see something that's so far on the other super creative end, like a multicultural night at school.
Yeah.
And that multicultural night was a super cool application. And one of my favorite parts is at the end when we have the winners send back photos where they can show us, how they put the money to use, whether it was with a piece of equipment or in this case, putting on this just insanely cool multicultural night that she sent us back the pictures from. So that was probably one of my favorites for sure.
I love the multicultural night, and I'm excited for listeners to see those photos. They're going to be in the newsletter. Um, I think about some of the events that occurred when I was a young kid in elementary school, in middle school, and when I was in high school. There were things like that happened, and they sparked my imagination to broaden global perspectives and to just do more, and I'll never forget those events. I'll never forget the teachers who put that on. So I love that one too. That was really cool and just inspiring that the teacher was thinking way outside the norm for that applicant.
Sure.
Brenda, you have looked at more Teachers Toolbox applications than anybody in this organization.
Maybe so.
So
And what's funny,
just
Uncle Al,
just tell us one. If you want to tell us two, you can, but tell us one of your favorite applicant stories.
well, Uncle Al took mine, but I have but well, I'll point out one thing that he didn't though, is that middle school shop program. He kept referring to the teacher as she set up, she set up, she set up. She is what I thought was so cool about it, other than the fact that it's a middle school with a shop program now, which is really unusual in this area anyway. I just think it's so cool that the teacher is a female. And
Right.
what a great example that is to the girls in that community that, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you set your mind to. So that I thought that was cool.
Very
Uh,
inspiring. I saw that
I,
too.
I like the applications that involve projects where the kids are getting involved with their local communities. We had one that it was a special needs class actually, I believe, and they use the grant to buy supplies to put together and build bird feeders to then take to nursing homes and put outside the windows of different rooms for the residents. And I love it when there's a connection between the school and the community because
Yeah.
it's crucial to keep everybody involved. So that was really cool. And then, back to just the basics that Don talked about. One that really stuck with me was a teacher that was so grateful to get the grant money to purchase. They had books, but they didn't have books. They had books at the correct reading level for the students that they had that were reading several grades below level. But the problem is that the books that they had were written for younger kids because they were written for a lower grade level, but he's an eighth grader, 14 years old, not interested in, Spot goes to the zoo or whatever he wants to read. He wants to read, grade level content, but it needed to be written in a level that he could understand and grow from. And so she was just so grateful. And then the kid was so grateful that I can actually read something I want to read and grow my grade level and my reading level by doing that. It's just cool to see that come together. Yeah. It's not that they didn't have the supplies, but they just didn't have the right level for him to really want to get better, So just a lot of cool stuff.
There are so many cool stories, and I do love um, when we see an impact in the classroom, but I also like when we make a connection to the outside community with the school. Just like the story about Sleep in Heavenly Peace, great organization, look them up. But working with the nursing home also, anytime that we can get the kids giving back to the community, man, it just is totally a ripple effect of just a few dollars of generosity that are compounded into this awesome grant program. I am just so grateful for everything that each of you do for the Teachers Toolbox Grant. It's an amazing program. I never would have imagined that would have been as successful as it is, and I'm glad that it is. So, Uncle Al, thank you for being the spark behind it. Thank you for your continued generous support of it. I know that that's just inspiring to other donors. So, thank you for being willing to share your story on that. Don and Brenda, thank you both for your work on it. Thank you for reviewing it. And just an extra special thanks to Brenda. I know how much work you're putting into this. I recognize it. And the rest of the team at BTCV, we recognize it. It's a big deal. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for the time and energy you put into it. You are changing lives, and especially changing lives of your fellow colleagues who are teachers. So thank you all very much, and be the change.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you for joining us for this Changer Chat. If you'd like to learn more about Teachers Toolbox Grant, check out our website at www.btcv.us. Thanks, everyone, and be the change.